the embodiment of freedom and justice, the hero who had led the Avengers into the fiercest battles. We're talking about everyone's favorite super soldier, no, not Bucky Barnes, Captain America. A man who would never use the logic of cruel ends to justify the means, or nearly choking his oldest friend to death with his vibranium arm. In all his story arcs, Steve Rogers has been the force of moral good that prevents the scales from tipping out of balance. Not only is he one of the oldest and most recurring characters in Marvel, but he's also made countless appearances in the animated world. In this marvelous video, let's explore the most notable roles of the Star-Spangled Patriot in the 2D world of Marvel Animations. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Howard would use a girl as a shield.
The Marvel Superheroes, 1966. In this throwback to the 60s, the most iconic superheroes from Marvel were presented in their first ever animation adventure, The Marvel Superheroes. The syndication series was created by Grand Tré Lawrence Animation Studio from September to December of 1966. The show was inspired by the stories of Marvel Comics during the Silver Age of comic books. The show was made up of 5 segments, each 7 minutes long. Each segment followed the adventures of Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, and Prince Namor. Sandy Becker voiced Cap for the duration of the show. In the first episode, his segment began with his origins, which followed his original storyline. Steve Rogers started out as a scrawny but brave man who wished to enlist as a soldier during World War II. He was rejected for his frail physique, which was his primary weakness. But a questionable military experiment awaited young Steve. He was chosen amongst many others to be transformed into a super soldier for the Allied forces. He met with Abraham Erskine, who instructed him to ingest the mysterious super soldier serum. The rest was history, while he made history that had never been seen before. After Operation Rebirth, Steve donned the alias of Captain America as he began weeding out Nazi spies from American soil. During his stationing at Camp Lehigh, he met fellow soldier Bucky Barnes. The animated series also showed the thrilling confrontations Captain America has with his arch-nemesis, Red Skull. Once the war neared its end, Rogers was sure he had lost his buddy, Barnes, to a missile launched by Baron Zemo. After he was thawed out of suspended animation 22 years later, Cap found himself in a changed world. The lost super soldier stumbled upon the Avengers, who had been turned to stone by Vuk, and quickly set to work on reviving them. The timeless animation followed many such stories of Captain America and his team, the Avengers. X-Men, the animated series, 1992. This popular animated TV show aired from 1992 to 1997 for 5 seasons. It was said to be a re-envisioning of 1989's X-Men Pride of the X-Men, which was a strange show with an Australian Wolverine and his dragon sidekick. This show was the longest any show based on Marvel Comics had run for. For the most part, the episodes followed the various backstories, missions, and chemistry of the X-Men team members. But the 7th episode of Season 5 featured the nation's hero, Captain America. It began with a shot of Logan standing by his friend's grave as he somberly reminisced about his time during the Second World War. Back then, Logan worked for a US intelligence agency. He lurked in the darkened streets of a Nazi-occupied Paris. He was given the mission to retrieve a vital scientist named Cocteau de Mort, hidden away in the mountains. Just as he set off, he stumbled across a young boy being harassed by 2 soldiers. Logan jumped in to intervene and began fighting the Nazi soldiers until one of them pulled a gun on him. Out of nowhere, a shield of red and blue came whirling in and deflected the fired bullet. Captain America had come to save the day. The duo began scaling the impenetrable mountain, while Logan commented on Cap's suit, calling it an itchy-looking Star-Spangled Banner monkey suit. Logan and Steve also faced off with Red Skull, throwing a wrench in his sinister plans. Logan rescues Captain America, who is tied to a torture table. The mutant uses Cap's handy shield to cut away his own restraints. They even took down the giant sleeper robot Red Skull planned to unleash on Paris. Their final fight with Red Skull included a fantastic montage of Cap and Logan leaping onto a plane that had just taken off, after which their blow was softened by a cart of hay. If a buddy cop adventure adventure with Steve and Logan is what you want to see, this episode's for you. Spider-Man, the animated series, 1994. This animated series was a hit across all ages and ran from 1994 to 1998 for 5 seasons. While the story mainly revolves around Peter Parker and his various shenanigans as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the show portrays a more relatable side of Spider-Man, with Peter navigating romances, friendships, and his job at the Daily Bugle while dealing with Uncle Ben's death. Captain America was mentioned several times throughout Season 5 until he had a few brief appearances. It began with Peter Parker dealing with the loss of Mary Jane by seeking comfort in Felicia Hardy. While her father, the infamous cat burglar named Walter Hardy, was in S.H.I.E.L.D. custody, Nick Fury revealed to Spider-Man that Walter was one of the few men who got to witness the creation of Captain America, along with 5 other soldiers who came to be known as the 6 American Warriors. In another episode titled Arrival, Spider-Man was met with a Beyonder. As part of a weird experiment, the cosmic entity presented a paradisiacal planet and chose a team of villains to invade it. Spider-Man was responsible for leading a team of heroes to save the planet and prove that the power of good was stronger than evil. Spidey chose the Fantastic Four, Captain America, Iron Man, and Storm from the X-Men. At the same time, the villainous team included Dr. Octopus, Dr. Doom, the Lizard, Alistair Smythe, and the Red Skull. The heroic forces of good combined their superpowers, which manifested in interesting combinations that helped them overcome the bad guys steadily. Cap's appearance in this show was interesting since he was mainly shown to be a part of the American Six group. The Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, 2010. The animated TV show by Marvel Animations debuted on Disney XD in 2010. Whether it be movies, live-action TV, animated shows, and most importantly, comics, the group has incredible chemistry that holds the attention of viewers and readers alike. Paired with top-notch animation and talented voice acting, this show was a fan favorite. Captain America was one of the main characters and played a pivotal role throughout the show. He was shown to be part of everyone's favorite superhero ensemble, the Avengers. In Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Cap was voiced by Brian Bloom, as his character in the show shared the same origin story as this Earth 616 counterpart. Season 1 began with a massive S.H.I.E.L.D. prison break, followed by the Avengers scrambling to hunt down all the escaped prisoners. Captain America led the Avengers to help Black Panther reclaim Wakanda and confront Baron Zemo's Masters of Evil. Many believe that Cap is often a stickler for rules, but this isn't always the case. Cap helped his dear friend Hawkeye launch an unsanctioned attack on Hydra Island. When Kang the Conqueror traveled to the 21st century, the Avengers stood by Steve. Even the villain claimed that Captain America was an anomaly in the space-time continuum. The galactic supervillain was convinced that Captain America was slyly biding his time and would eventually betray Earth's mightiest heroes. Following this fiasco, the Avengers went into battle with Hydra and AIM as the two groups fought over the Cosmic Cube. In a struggle with Baron von Strucker, Captain America and the leader of Hydra touched the Cosmic Cube at the same time. This resulted in the Captain's oldest friend, Bucky, being resurrected. Season 2 followed Cap's adventures with the rest of the team as they fought Malekith the Accursed, Ultron, and Loki with the power of Odin. Rogers was also cornered by a Skrull, who dramatically announced that the invasion had begun.
I'll choose loyalty over efficiency any day.
Avengers Assemble, 2013. After the success of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, any animation by the Avengers had big shoes to fill. The 2013 show sought to feed into the hype surrounding the superhero team after the release of the 2012 film The Avengers. Avengers Assemble aired on Disney XD and ran for 5 whole seasons. This show is different from previous ones in that the character designs were heavily inspired by the MCU. Instead of drawn-out storylines, Avengers Assemble chose to follow segmented storylines of the team fighting a variety of supervillains. Season 1 followed the sinister plans of Red Skull as he lay dying because of his inferior version of the Super Soldier Serum. He decided to enlist the help of AIM in his attempt to kidnap Captain America so he could transfer his consciousness into the Super Soldier's body. The Avengers confronted the conniving villain, who then fled and resurrected himself with the life support systems of a stolen Iron Man suit. He then used the suit to completely destroy the Avenger Mansion and assemble the Cabal, who were a secret society of supervillains and anti-heroes. Dracula and Adama decided to join Red Skull in his fight against the Avengers. In Season 2, we see Steve Rogers' courage as he leads the Avengers into a fierce battle against Thanos in order to protect the Infinity Stones. Their plans were disrupted by the deadly supervillain Ultron, who drained the stones of their powers. The show also focused on the newest addition to the Avengers team, Falcon. Captain America and Falcon are shown to have a sweet friendship, and the duo is able to work with each other smoothly. Their connection was built on admiration and loyalty, as they soon became brothers in arms. When it comes to Tony and Steve, although tension and clashes of opinion often take precedence in their relationship, they do remain friends. In Season 1, when Captain America is believed to be dead at the hands of Red Skull, we can see Tony Stark visibly mourning his friend's apparent death. In the end, the two put their differences aside and came together to defeat Ultron. What If? 2021. This animated anthology TV show first aired in 2021 on Disney+. The premise was that of the multiverse established in the first season finale of the TV show Loki. As the name suggests, What If curiously explored various alternate timelines across the multiverse. Steve Rogers made his first appearance in Season 1, Episode 1, titled, What If Captain Carter Was the First Avenger? Right before he was due to be injected with the Super Soldier Serum, Captain America was shot and severely injured. This left him unfit to become a super soldier, and Peggy Carter took his place. Instead of the patriotic hero Captain America, this alternate timeline got super soldier Captain Carter. Steve Rogers was assigned to become the pilot of a mechanical suit of armor known as the Hydra Stomper. Peggy and Steve's affection for one another transcends all dimensions and reality, as the two are love interests even in this timeline. The 5th episode of the first season is titled, What If Zombies? It explored the possibility of what would happen if the events of the MCU movies Ant-Man and the Wasp and Avengers Infinity War occurred differently. In the episode, Hank Pym entered the quantum realm in search of his lost wife, Janet Dine. To his horror, she had been infected by a quantum virus that turned her into a ravenous zombie. Hank Pym is attacked by the zombie that was once his wife before he hurried back to our world. The mysterious virus began spreading like wildfire across the northwestern United States. The gravity of the situation compelled the Avengers into action until the unthinkable happened. They got infected. It was a terrifying sight to behold as a zombified Captain America, along with zombie Hawkeye and Falcon, desperately launched themselves onto the other members like mindless monsters. But at the price of her own life, Hope Van Dyne ensured the infected Avengers met with Vision, who reversed the effects of the virus using the Mind Stone. X-Men 97, 2024. Now, everyone's most favored animated TV show, X-Men 97, is the revival and continuation of the 1992 show X-Men the Animated Series. The latest animated installment first aired in March 2024. The basic premise of this show continues the story of the X-Men in the absence of Charles Xavier. In the 90s show, Xavier was nearly killed in an assassination attempt and was taken into space to be healed by the Shi'ar Empire. X-Men 97 is an animated action-adventure with its fair share of soap opera-style drama, heavy topics, and the workings of interpersonal relationships. Episode 7 of X-Men 97 followed the story of a vengeful rogue as she set off in search of Gyrich and Trask. She wished to hunt down the scientist credited with the manufacture of the disastrous Sentinels that destroyed their mutant homeland of Genosha, and further killed Gambit and Magneto. She busted into a top-secret government facility in order to gain more information from General Thunderbolt Ross, but was vexed by Captain America instead. He threw his shield at the mutant, who kept it with her. Cap tried to explain how he too sought the forces responsible for Genosha, but also had to stick by the rules. Steve claimed that his hands were tied and that he couldn't bear to play dirty. Rogue wasn't having any of it, saying that if his hands were truly tied, he wouldn't need his shield. She proceeded to fling his shield into the hills and flee away. Many were unhappy with the way Steve was portrayed in this episode, believing that he was shown to be a government bootlicker, when in reality, his character is quite the opposite. We've seen on multiple occasions that Cap never really shied away from breaking the rules if it meant standing by his values and proper morals. Marvelous verdict. Out of all of Captain America's animated appearances, which one did you like the best? One thing remains common in all his appearances in the Marvel Universe, animated or live action. Steve Rogers was always a righteous man, considered to be one of the greatest superheroes Earth was gifted with. Even before his transformation into a superhuman being, Steve had already dedicated himself to the defense of freedom and justice. He's spent a considerable amount of time feeling out of place and time, believing that his belief system would paint him as the goody two-shoes. Even so, Steve Rogers was always the superhero embodiment of an idealistic America. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.